providing insights to help you grow your business, improve yourself, and add value to those around you. You're listening to the Success is a Choice podcast, where you get a peek into the lives of industry leaders as they share their stories with you.
Welcome to Success is a Choice podcast. I'm your host, Jamy Bechler, and today we're pleased to be joined by Scott Keppel. Scott is one of the top fitness trainers in Arizona and has been featured in both national and international media. He is also the official fitness trainer for the Miss Arizona USA contest. Not only is he the person that beauty queens turn to when they want to get ready for a pageant, but he also trains people from all walks of life who are at different stages in their physical fitness. It doesn't matter who you are, Scott and his proven Scott training systems and his team can help take anyone from where they currently are to where they want to go. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jamie. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to be on this podcast and looking forward to speaking with you and all those that are listening and hopefully provide some insight, that can change some people's lives. Smart man learns from his mistakes, and a wise man or woman, right, learns from others. So hopefully throughout this podcast I can share some mistakes that I've made and some achievements that I've made, and that will hopefully help those that are listening to this.
That's awesome. You train pageant queens, you train fitness competitors, and you also train, just the average Joe, essentially. Most people would think you have a cool job because you get to help take people from where they are now to where they want to be. Where have you come from to get where you are today? What has your journey been like?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, so I'm originally from Ohio, Geneva, up near Lake Erie. So go Buckeyes. Back, elementary school, used to get bullied a little bit. High school, incident occurred once where some guy shaved my head when I was, passed out, which shouldn't be in high school, but, I made some bad choices. So those things happen, and from that point on, I always knew, I'm leaving this town. This town is not for me. I went to college in Hiram to play football, but, from the time I was 13 and all that stuff was kind of happening, I started working out with weights. I wanted to just get stronger, not really to fight people, but to, gain confidence, right? Because bullies tend to not bully people that are confident. So, I started working on my strengths. Plus, I played football. I played football, even in college. And I'm not that big of a guy. I was a center, and I weighed about 180 pounds. So I had to be stronger, smarter, faster, tougher, and not give up. And so I learned that at a young age, that if I wanted to be successful in that sport that I love so much, that's what I had to do. So I did that. Went to Hiram. Before I had graduated, I already had a job with a car rental company. Worked there, and while working there, I knew something was missing in my life. I wasn't sure what it was, but I would write up workouts for people, in college, and even out of college, and not really charge anything because I wasn't certified, but I was studying it all the time. People would come up to me because I had thrown out my back, so I had to modify my workout. So other athletes would come up, and their coaches would come to me because a lot of it was just cookie cutter back then. And hey, if you play football, you do this program. If you play soccer, you do this program. But what about if someone has an injury or whatnot? And some of the coaches weren't educated on that. So I educated myself, and started helping other people and loved it. But, Hiram did not offer kinesiology or exercise science. They just offered, if you wanted to be an athletic trainer. So I studied business there because I always had known from the time I was in high school, possibly even earlier, but I remember telling my business teacher then, I'm going to own my own gym someday. So I started studying, and again, I was working for this company, and something was just missing, and so I decided to get certified while I lived in Ohio. And then one day, sitting at a bar after playing some football, my buddy and I were just talking man, we need to get out of this place. So we came out to Arizona. He had a friend out here, and I told him, hey, if I find a place to work and I find a place to live, I'll move. And sure enough, I got hired the day I went in. We found a place to live, came back, gave my 2 weeks notice, and moved. And prior to moving, I remember my buddies having like a send-off party, and I told them all, I go, listen, I'm going to Arizona to be a trainer. And they're like, what? You know, a couple of them. And I go, yeah, and I'm going to go, and everyone's going to know my name. I go, I'm going to be the best coach out there. And eventually, you know, everyone, you know, in the nation's going to know who I am. And, you know, some of them were, you know, awesome, and you can do it. And others were like, yeah, okay, whatever. And here I am now 17 years later, being interviewed by, you know, you, which is amazing. You know, so spreading that word. And the time it wasn't so much everyone's going to know my name. I mean, a little bit of it, yeah, was ego, for sure. Others was, I was like, the more people that know my name, that's the more people that are listening to my message, and my message is worth listening to, right? So what can I do to make sure people hear my voice? So I came out, worked at a gym out here, a national gym, for about, about 4 years or so, or no, actually about 4 years. I was the number one trainer there for 2.5 of those years. And then my wife got pregnant, and with our first, my second, and we didn't want her to have to work as much. So the thing is, when you work for someone else, you either have to work more to make more money, or, you know, and I didn't want to work more hours. So we decided that we were going to leave, and I took 19 out of 21 clients with me into my garage. And from my garage, fast forward to now, I have a 4,100 square foot brick and mortar in Arizona. I have 8 coaches that work for me, gone from 19 people to several hundred people, not only locally but internationally, that I coach. And as you had mentioned, anything from fitness competitors and bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is something I got into after I had moved out here. And so people saw how much I transformed my physique. So I started helping people get ready for shows. The official trainer for the Weight Loss Institute of Arizona. So we help people that are morbidly obese as well. I've also, as you mentioned, I help pageant contestants. I'm the official trainer for not only Miss Arizona USA, but Miss Utah USA. And I'm the preferred trainer for 7 other states for Miss USA, as well as I'm the official trainer for Miss Arizona and the America system too. And then I'm also certified in pre-postnatal, because when my wife got pregnant with our first, I wanted to be able to make sure, you know, she was going to be able to be healthy and fit, because she loves to exercise too. So I wanted to get certified for that. And then my wife had breast cancer twice. Excuse me. And the first time she got it, actually we were back in Ohio when she found a lump on her chest. It was July 4th. I decided that I was going to get certified in post-breast cancer so I could help her throughout her recovery as well.
Great story of where you come from to where you are now. And your wife getting cancer, it led you to do some charity work. It led you to take on that as a cause. And you have something coming up in October, here at the end of October, called Busting Butts to Save Breaths. Breaths.
Yes, it's a mouthful. Yeah, busting butts to save breaths.
Busting butts to save breaths. You know.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about, you know, we know where that came from. You know, we know what your inspiration was for doing that. Tell us a little bit about what that event is, and we'll be sure to get some information in the show notes as well about that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so the event, as we know why I started it was because Melissa got diagnosed with cancer. And when we found out it was cancer, I was like, all right, listen, I don't know really how to deal with this, so I'm going to work. And so like I said, I got certified, and then behind her back, which, you know, men, you shouldn't typically do something behind your wife's back unless you know it's going to be amazing. So I created this event, and our very first one, we had about 50 people, and we raised about $3,000. And my wife was actually, it was the day after her last radiation treatment, so she was able to walk it, and it was one of the most amazing things to witness was seeing her cross that finish line. Now, fast forward, here we are, year 7 with Busting Butts. We now have where people get a racing chip, so it's a legitimate 5K. People can walk it, they can run it, or we have stations set up throughout. So we have 10 stations since it's the 10th month, and since this year it'll be on the 29th of October. At each station, someone would have to do 29 reps. So it might be burpees or squat jumps or lunge jumps or squats. So people can do that as well too. We have raffle items, anything from signed footballs, from athletes out here to basketballs to whatever people will donate, because we donate 100% of the proceeds to charity. This year and last year we donate to the Johnson Cancer Center Foundation. It's a foundation, and the doctor there was helping one of my wife's friends, one of our friends, who unfortunately lost her battle with cancer last year. So we do this race now in memory of her as well too. And we get all walks of people, from beginners to advanced runners to the police academy coming out and doing it in cadence, which is awesome to see. We have a kids boot camp for kids 6 years of age and older that don't want to run the race but want to come, and they can do the kids boot camp while the parents are running. So that way the kids, don't have to stay home, and they can still participate. And it's just a great way to bring a community together. And we use this event as a way to bring hope to individuals dealing with not just breast cancer, but adversity, and to show individuals that when faced with tough times, a family does not have to break apart. It can actually grow stronger together. So while we all hope there's a cure for cancer, that's something beyond my scope. I don't know how to find that, but what I can provide, daily, and especially with this event, is hope for people, to get through tough times and stay together as a family.
And that's got to be a great motivation and inspiration as well for when you're working with people, whether it be a fitness competitor, a beauty queen, beauty pageant contestant, or just somebody that, you talked about someone that's obese, or somebody that really needs to get into shape, to be able to inspire and motivate them, that you can overcome, that anything, even cancer can be overcome. So what you're going through with trying to get into shape can definitely be overcome too if you just stick to it. Exactly,
and that's the message we want to share is, we don't like to compare, right? We don't ever want to say, hey, I went through this, you're only going through that, right? We all have our cross to bear, and if it's hard for you, it's hard for you, right? So, but we use it more, to let people know, that, listen, when faced with adversity, use your community, use your resources, use, in the case of us, prayer, so use those things that you have and those people that you have to get through it and be strong, because no one is strong enough to face all their adversity alone. So when people come to me, yes, maybe to do a show, or they're overweight, or I have individuals with eating disorders as well too, or it's a woman who's pregnant and she's scared. I'm like, okay, let's figure out, your why. Let's figure out, why are you doing this? What do we want to do? And let's look, and, I really enjoyed listening to on your website, the story of the two brothers, and Stephen Covey's, quote as well too. And I truly believe, right, as even Jack Canfield talks about too, we might not be able to control our circumstances or our environments, whichever word you want to use, right? But we can control how we react to those particular things. So with our kids, and we have 3 kids, and they had asked before, like, why does mom have cancer? Why did she get it? I was like, kids, we can't ask why, right? If we keep asking why, we're going to go crazy. We have to understand this is what we have. These are the brutal facts. What can we do with this? What we can do, right, is knowing we're going to get through this, is maybe use this as a beacon to help those individuals faced with whatever it may be. Cancer, insecurity, overeating, undereating, underperformance, whatever it is, we can maybe use this as a way to say, hey, listen, you know what, when faced, again, with adversity, you can get through it. But the brutal fact is, it is adversity that you're facing. So what can we do to keep moving forward.
You are a motivational speaker.
Oh, thank you.
You're good. But everybody in their life, and you work with people mainly from a physical standpoint, from a physical, their health, their fitness. But no matter who you're dealing with, people have a place that they're at right now, and they're trying to get somewhere else. They're trying to be better than they are right now, or achieve some goals. And so, all it is it's constantly, as a coach or as a leader, you're trying to take people from where they are to where they want to be, and trying to find out what motivates and inspires them. And that sounds really good, man, what you're doing. And, or how do you deal with the different types of people that you see on a regular basis? How do you adapt and adjust, because it would seem on the surface that someone that's Miss Arizona or competing in a Miss USA contest is different than somebody who has to shed 25 pounds.
For sure. Yes and no. I mean, again, like you had mentioned, everyone has their journey. Just like you coached different teams, some that were really good, some that weren't, some players that were good, some that weren't, right? Some that had aspirations of going beyond, and some that didn't, right? Mm-hmm. But they were all there for a reason. As a coach, as a leader, my role, my job is to find out why. So we do a lot with speaking and personal development and nutrition and mindfulness and training, and to figure out, okay, why are you here? You're here to be Miss Arizona or Miss America. You're here to lose 25 pounds. Why? Well, because, okay, why, right? You got to dig deeper than just the first why, right? And you can't just assume because someone said they wanted this, oh, well, you want Miss Arizona. That makes sense. It's like maybe they're using it for a platform. Maybe they're using it for modeling. Maybe they're using it because they were insecure and bullied, and this is a way to get back to the bully. Whatever it may be. So for me, if you're going to be successful in anything in life, right, you have to be able to adapt. And if you're unwilling to adapt, you're going to eventually fade away. So whether that's, your role and your love is to be a teacher, a landscaper, whatever it is, no judgment. I mean, everyone has their passion, right? But you have to be able to adapt, especially in the world we live in now that's so fast, so high paced, so stressful, so competitive, right? If you can't adapt to your surroundings, people are going to leave you. So for me, I'm constantly educating myself, reading, bettering myself. And part of that is for me to make sure I find time to do my personal development daily. I set an hour off every day to read, listen to podcasts such as yours, right? When they come out, and, just listen to other successful people, right? It's all about surrounding yourself and putting yourself in an environment of success. I pray regularly. I give thanks. I start off every morning and every night brushing my teeth. And when I'm brushing my teeth, I just give thanks for everything I have. Some days it's different things than others, but I tell my clients, right, and I've heard this from different speakers too, but, like bookend your day. Like you can always choose how you start your day. And one thing I got from Darren Hardy I really liked, and I just modified it for my own, right, because that's what we do. We take something and we hopefully make it better. But he spoke about, think about us being a clear, like a glass of water, a nice clear glass of water. But because of drama, because of tabloids, because of gossiping, because of negative self-talk, because of whatever it is, that water starts to get kind of dirty, right? Have you ever tried to give anyone a dirty glass of water, right? They don't want it, right? So unless theirs is even dirtier. So if you are a dirty glass of water, no one wants to be around you unless they're dirtier than you, which why would you want to be around that? But if you're clean and you're filling your life and your mind and your heart, with positivity, with success, people want to be around that. And more successful people want to be around that. And more brings more, right? So now that being said, you might start off your day, right? Like, hey, I'm going to be great today. It's going to be an awesome day. And all of a sudden you walk out here in Arizona, we have dust storms. So here I am walking outside with my clear glass of water, and a dust storm came. Oh, crap. because sometimes you can't control, again, your circumstances or your environment. But you can still end your day with maybe not as clean of a glass as you started with, but you can at least clean it up and not go to bed with all the drama, all the stress, everything else. So that's what I really encourage, people that I come into contact with is work on that. Start your day right, end your day right. The more and more you're consistent with that, the more and more you're going to find the rest of your day is going to be good too.
That's great. And you said earlier, you can't control your circumstances or your environment sometimes, but you can definitely control and choose your attitude and how you react to those things that happen to you, just like the glass of water you talk about or the dust storms. So, I listen to you here, and I've watched some of your videos on YouTube, and you certainly are a motivator. Like I said, you're inspirational, but you have that positive vibe. I don't think it's just only fitness trainers need that. You look at a business person, that has employees or a team. People don't want to go to work. They don't want to get up and go to work, but you can still motivate them and inspire them. Just like most people don't want to probably come to your gym, even though it's a 4,100 square feet? Probably.
Yeah.
It's probably a real nice facility, but people still don't want to come there and work out because it's hard. And no matter what it is you're trying to get someone to do, it's hard. And so if you can have that positive vibe and make it fun and make it enjoyable and motivate them and inspire them, I think you can get more out of people that way. And I imagine you found that in coaching people.
For sure. Thank you. And, it's hard. Sometimes people don't want to be here. Sometimes I might not want to be here, right? But that's what I encourage my coaches. Like, it's not about when you show up to work, when you show up for a team, right? It's not about you, right? You got to get over yourself. And one of the best compliments I got, if you could call it that, is back when my wife was dealing with cancer. The first time we found out it was a Wednesday. That Saturday, I had 30 people competing in a bodybuilding show and figure competition. None of them knew she had cancer until after their show, because I didn't want them to use that as an excuse for them not to do well, or for them to think that I couldn't be present for them. So while difficult it was for me to be there and not be home with my wife at that time, there's nothing I could really do at home. So I just showed up. No one knew. I didn't bring my, things that are going on in my life into it. And that's what too often leaders, coaches, owners, whatever role you are, they do. And then you wonder why your team or the people around you aren't performing, right? Because you're bringing that into it. So you got to, every day, choose to show up, right? And that's what a lot of people don't. Like playing, I know you played, basketball, I played football, we played sports, right? Did you love every practice? Probably not, But did you love sitting on the bench if you did, right? I know I didn't. But, what it did, and that's what I teach my kids, is in life, at some point, I strongly feel everyone needs to get their butt kicked. And I remember telling this to my oldest, and he's like, what? I go, not physically. I don't think everyone has to get in a fist fight and get their butt kicked. But I go, everyone has to be humbled, right? At some point, you need humility in your life. And the only way I feel to have humility is to be humbled, whatever that may be for you. And I know for me, it happened time and time and time again, and it will continue. And that's okay, because that's how I learn, right? Like, my biggest fear is failure. And I remember telling that to someone before, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's a heavy burden to carry, failure. I go, no, it's not really, because failure to me is knowing if something doesn't succeed because I didn't give my best, I failed. If I give my best, like I did, for instance, in college, and I was blessed to be, a college athlete, and I started 2 seasons, but not all 4, I didn't fail as an athlete. I gave my best at that time virtually all the time. So that's what I could control. So I don't feel like I failed. Someone else might look at my career, in that and say like, man, that doesn't even count or whatever. Okay, that's fine. For them, it doesn't. I don't really care. That's the other thing too, right, is you can't worry so much about what everyone else thinks, right? If you truly want to be successful in life, right, and have a choice, sometimes that choice means people aren't going to really like it. And mainly it's because it's a reflection of them because they're not successful. As long as you're being morally centered, ethically centered, you're not doing anything purposely to hurt anyone, injure anyone, put anyone through, their name through the mud, then go for whatever success is for you.
Scott, where can people connect with you and find out more about you and the services you provide?
Sure. They can go to scottkeppel.com or scottstrainingsystems.com. Those are the two best ways. Contact information is on there, but that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. We'll be sure to put those in the show notes. And I'd like to end with a couple rapid-fire questions, and just give me an answer off the top of your head. But you mentioned earlier that you like to listen to some podcasts and stuff, but what are some podcasts or books that you would recommend or that you're currently consuming?
I like Darren Hardy. I like Good to Great, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Those would be some of my tops right now.
Who would you like to meet or get to know that you don't currently know?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mr. Bodybuilder himself.
Yeah.
What is a favorite quote or mantra that you live by?
This is not how my story has to end.
Is there a piece of software or a resource or a productivity tool or app that you would have a hard time living without?
Right now, email.
Good old school email.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
What reality show would you want to be on if you could be on any reality show?
My own, Chasing Perfect. We actually had pitched the idea a while ago, but it didn't take off. But that's what I would want to do.
Well, you can go ahead and make that a reality. You can
exactly
in today's day and age, get one of your team members. Yeah, hire some intern. Make it. Make it a YouTube sensation.
There you go. I like that. That's a good idea.
That would be a good one. What would you consider has been the most important quality or habit that you have, that you've exhibited, that's helped you with your success?
The idea of never giving up and working hard.
Now, I know that you love your job. I know most people would say it's a dream job, especially working with, beauty pageant queens and the like. If you weren't doing what you were doing now, what would be the job you would want to do?
An actor.
Okay. In big time movies or TV?
Big time movies, and one of them would be being a fitness coach named Scott Keppel. Would be a movie that they'll do about me.
Playing himself.
There you go.
Man, I appreciate your time. Thank you for providing these insights. Keep up the good work. We look forward to seeing how your charity event goes with Busting Butts to Save Breasts at the end of October. And thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Jamie.
I really enjoyed talking with Scott today. As you can see, he is helping people meet their fitness and nutritional goals. But as good as this is, he is doing something even better with his Busting Butts to Save Breasts 5K run and boot camp on October 29th. Now, I realize that you may not live in Arizona, but you can still donate to this great cause by going to www.adventuresignup.com. That's www.adventuresignup.com. Thanks again for considering this, and thank you also for tuning in to the show today. Please take a quick second to hit that little subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Until next time, remember that success is a choice. What choice will you make today?